Hi guys, welcome to the podcast. This episode, we are going to try to. They are going to try to convince me that there's hope in Nigeria and generally in Africa's infrastructure building up, the whole infrastructure to make things better. So I'm Damisi, and there.
I'm Josh.
And this Big Daddy Pets, how it's doing, boys.
Or the best. Either way.
Yeah, well,
That's
anyone,
best.
give or take. So,
All right, all right, cool. So as we look at it right now, Africa and Nigeria, we have very poor infrastructure currently. And where things are going, what I see from the government and how things move along, it just seems like it's very slow and there's no hope, we should say. What do you guys think? Is there hope in the infrastructure in Africa and in Nigeria? If you want to be particular, will change.
Okay, so do you want to be optimistic, Reuben?
well, see, funny enough is that, people who are outside this podcast will hear my views now and be like, oh my God, he's so pessimistic about Africa outside, and how come he's so positive about this particular scenario on this podcast? And so, yes, people are going to be optimistic. One of the reasons why, because I feel, for case in point with the internet, is that as long as they don't do anything should it like, okay, coming to try to control internet, like how China does or most country does, because largely they don't understand how the internet works in a certain space. Now I'm talking about the leaders who make decisions to get, because Nigeria unfortunately is governed by people who didn't get there by creating value. Sugar, it wasn't based on meritocracy, right? So I feel like to a certain extent, because they don't understand how the internet space works, to a certain extent, they won't be able to try to kill it until they begin to see massive, big potential or growth. And at that point, the growth might already happened for them to begin to try to control it. That being said, Nigeria still pays one of the cheapest internet rates in Africa. It's not necessarily the best. Because if I compare my rates with what Josh gets, it's not necessarily the best. You get one of the cheapest. And I feel like that number will still go down, partly because that's kind of like the only support the average Nigerian gets. The average Nigerian a lot is on Twitter, is on social media, is on Instagram, and then you see these networks trying to appeal to these guys. They try to slash prices a lot. And trying to slash prices a lot, you mean that you're trying to overall the total experience to get to these guys. So I feel like given enough time. Now the problem is, how long would that time be? It might be 100 years. It might be 5 years. It might be 2 years. Give me enough time, Josh. It might be it might be 100 years, but I feel like it might get better.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna
Now,
happen.
why do you say so?
It's simple. There's no incentive. See, you have to understand that all these things happen from a cultural standpoint. That's the problem. When people don't understand something, they get worried about how to control it, because once the internet and the infrastructure, the internet infrastructure for Africa, once that takes off, the power shift that's going to occur in the country is going to be staggering. Like, you look at places like the US, for example, right? They moved from, agriculture, oil, and finance, like finance related sort of industries, to tech. Like, tech came after when the sort of the web internet bubble happened. It came and just exploded everything. The power shift was insane. Now, all the most important companies, the biggest, most powerful companies, the richest companies, most valuable ones, are all tech companies. Like, they've just cleaned everyone, they've swept everyone aside. Media, Hollywood, all of them, they're in second place. And that's been the pattern in every country that has happened. So when other people who are in power look at these things, they go, right, it's either we control it or we get swept aside. And Africa has been very good at holding on to power. When you look at politically as well, you look at we still haven't figured out electricity.
Don't get me started on electricity.
I'm sorry.
It pisses me off.
We still haven't figured out electricity. Like, you can't. It's weird. Like, the places where there's no clean running water. It's like, let's temper our expectations. I think we need to we need to control our expectations, right? Because
Okay.
it's
So,
if you say 100 years,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
While that seems like a long time, you
Yeah.
have to remember it's actually a very short time because,
Fair. In terms of tech advancement,
dude,
fair.
2010 was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's gone just like that.
Yeah. And that's when we're back in school. We're still
When
back in
UI
school at
then,
that
right?
then, right?
And
Yeah,
that's
with
just
the
gone
UI
like
then.
that,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
You blink
Yeah.
and then it's 2030.
Yeah.
You blink again and 2040. And because there's so much happening in the world, and the fact that African places in Africa aren't the center point of people's attention, like
Yeah.
these are places that people are often looking to leave, not stay and improve. So there's no real incentive for things to change because worst case scenario, if you're a very intelligent entrepreneur in Lagos, for example, and Lagos isn't just working for you, doesn't have infrastructure to get your business off the ground, what happens? You relocate to Silicon Valley or London or
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or wherever it
Berlin or
is, yeah.
something, and then
Yeah.
that's that talent gone. And we've
Yeah.
seen that happen. Like all the because when I think back to our UI set, for example, and like the guys once said in front of us, one set behind, like we had some
Yeah.
serious programming talent.
Yeah.
How many of them are still in Nigeria right now? I'm no longer
Most
in
of them.
Nigeria. I'm
Yeah.
sure you guys, once you get that chance, you're gone. And you can't lie to me. Once you get that
I
chance, you're
mean,
done. You're gone.
almost all of us right now are
Mhm.
almost or indirectly or directly working or getting our income from out of the country.
My point.
Yeah.
So it's
You
like,
get
no, there's no, the top talent isn't staying home. So the people left behind don't really have an incentive to push for better internet because it's like, a lot of people don't even know what they're missing.
yeah.
Right. And the problems like, and you have to remember that internet isn't
Okay.
like a separate thing. It's one of those things. It's like the icing on the cake. So if you don't have
Yeah.
everything else set up, you
Set,
can't have
yeah.
decent internet. Like you have to remember that there's another issue Nigeria has as a country where we can't maintain anything. You build something today, in 5 years time it's run down. Go check like supermarkets, schools, malls. You go to ShopRite, it's probably looking run down. I haven't been there in a long time, but I'm sure if I go to ShopRite today, it's probably looking a lot more run down than it was when it first came and was all the rage when it was like that was the main thing in Lagos back then. Now it's probably looking
They're
run down.
trying. They're trying.
But that's
They're
the
fair, they're fair.
and that's even a foreign investment. Like that's not even a Nigerian built thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is it about Nigerian culture? What is it about Nigerian leadership? What is it about people in Nigeria that makes us come to a place where we don't like maintaining things? Like we can't. It's either we'll just rebuild or move on to the next new thing, but we don't maintain what we have right now because the internet and internet infrastructure. Once if say we contract it out to China or to Sweden or wherever any of these countries that have got fantastic internet, right? If they can't build it for us, do we have the talent at home that would have enough incentive to stay in Lagos and maintain this? And don't forget, it's not just Lagos. You're talking about other places. You're talking about Ibadan. You're talking about Osun State. You're talking about Kwara State. You're talking about Kaduna. Like all these places far and near, big cities, remote villages. Like who's going to be traveling to some jungle town to go and lay fiber?
You know, touched on this on the last episode when you were talking about the politicians that if they were forced to stay, if their children were forced to school in Nigeria, they will invest more in education. And we see that every time when you talk about education. I know we had a story back in the day in the department, in your department, where I knew a particular lecturer, a personal friend of mine, who was trying to innovate, was trying to be to move the department forward, and he was basically pushed out because the others felt threatened.
That's how it goes. That's
He,
how it goes.
I
so like
mean, Josh, we have so many stories.
Dude, there are
Don't
too
we
many
have
stories. Too many stories. It was a joke. I remember my final year project trying to make an iOS
Yeah.
app. There was no one to help me. I
Yeah.
had to do
Yeah.
it
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
solo.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, I had to do
Yeah.
so. I would walk on. It's like there's no go make a website. I was asked to
Yeah.
go make a PHP website like everyone else. I'm like, I don't want to make a PHP website. I want to make an iOS app, an iOS game, and it was a bit of a joke. And and that's part of the problem, right? Is there's no incentive to change. Like you have to understand if you're profiting, because people don't understand how much money Africa actually has. The only problem is it's not well distributed. Like when you look at the UK or the US, for example, most people in the UK and US aren't financially stable. What I mean by that is if they lose their job,
Yeah.
that's it. They could end up on the street in months because, but the problem is the advantage they have in this society and of course in the US and places like it is the social services are so well established that the quality of life of the average guy is so attractive that as long as he has employment, he's fine. He has access to most things. So a guy who has a job in the UK can pay his bills. He would always have running water. He will always have electricity. He will always come home to good internet. He will always have food. So those things are sorted out for him. But in Nigeria, you'd find like it's two different classes. So it's super poor,
Yeah.
or other people have like insane amounts of money. So you live in a place like Lagos where if you're making millions of naira a month, you can pretty much never have to cook. You can't do that in any other society. Like if you try that in London where you never have to cook, you're going to be spending what upwards of £500 a month on food. I know this because I've done this before. And it got to a point where I looked at myself, I was like, wait, I'm just throwing money away because I should just cook and save
just
out
figure out
Do you know, but you can do that in Lagos easily, where you get this fat salary and you just go to Mr. Biggs, 1,000, you're sorted, and you have millions in your account. You can just do that every day. There are bankers like that the moment they get that banking job, they go from being super skinny, like within 6 months they get a pot belly. Because they just start enjoying life. Look at this picture. The average guy who's got a decent job, not even a fantastic job, a decent job in Lagos, can afford a maid, can afford a driver, can afford a security man at his gate. That quality of life, you can't get in any other developed country without being a serious like proper rich guy. Like you're not getting a maid, chef and bodyguard in London unless you're a footballer or something, or you've got like stupid amounts of money. It's not happening.
But then obviously you're comfortable, like you said.
Yeah, but that's my point. So it's the provisions the government has made on everything else that gives like that impression of a higher quality of life. So my question now is, what's the incentive for people who are currently enjoying the broken system? What's the incentive for them to make it fairer for everyone else? Because the moment better internet comes into play, everyone can compete. Like I no longer need to job hunt in Lagos. I can work for Google, earning a Google salary in Kaduna. Do you have any like if you're living in some, let's say you're living in some dodgy place in like say deep in Osun State or something where you know what I'm talking about, like like one of these village towns, but you've got a
like Bodija or something like that.
Yeah, you've got like a massive brain.
You say Bodija.
That's brutal. But like if you're living in one of these places, right, and you're paying next to nothing in rent, like your rent is a joke because of how you can buy like massive land, build your house for next to nothing, and then you get a job in Google. You're working remote full time, earning a Google salary for a senior developer.
That's nuts.
Dude, you can run for office. Like you're making so much money, you can run for office. Like this is the thing. So it's going to have a profound effect, and these are things that, because you're saying a lot of these people who are in charge, a lot of these people who own resources and control things, they're not stupid people. They know that they don't want you to compete with their children. So what incentive do they have to make that happen without they profiting or just carry on profiting like they are now? Like MTN, the people who run MTN, people who make money from MTN or Glo or whatever, what incentive do they have to allow some startup ISP to come and offer fiber when they're not getting a cut? Now they're going to push that guy out.
Okay, so Josh, I think I think I can think of an incentive right now. So I feel like because Nigeria is kind of like, and I say this with no offense to anybody, Nigeria is kind of like a copycat society that once one person does one stuff, everybody is trying to do that same thing and copy. So I feel like one incentive could be, and I feel like also which is one of the problems why also there hasn't been like a focus too much on tech, is because we haven't had like serious exits or big successful exits. So I'm thinking at the top of my head, and I know again this is against what people know me outside the podcast, I'm very pessimistic when it comes to Africa.
Right, go on then.
But for the sake of this, I'm going to be optimistic. I know it's even very hard, right? Almost all my investments are out of the country. So, but then again, now if you don't you think that if somebody makes that successful exit, that big startup exit. Maybe someone builds a startup here with his sweat, his blood, and it gets two things. Now, the startup gets to serve a market that is out of Africa, but the company is in Africa, or the startup does create so much value that one of the big fives comes to acquire it. Don't you think people begin to say, okay, oh, wow, okay, there's some serious potential here? Because, for example, when Jumia came to Nigeria, everybody went to e-commerce, right? Now, I'm just thinking, from my optimistic side, that
I disagree.
why do you think so?
Zuckerberg came to Lagos. What happened then?
Yeah, but look, Zuckerberg didn't buy any company.
No. He came to
didn't
check
see
out
any company to buy.
No. Hear me out. He came to check out Andela. No. I'm getting somewhere. I know you're about to get triggered. But I'm getting somewhere. My point is simply this. See, there are other countries, right, that have the same economic opportunity Nigeria has with less barriers. Why wouldn't they invest there? It's like these companies have tried, and I got invited to a Google event like 2 years ago. So do you guys know about the next billion users Google project? Yeah. So I went like early days. We got invited to this event, so it was some diversity thing. They were like, oh yeah, black people, like how these companies go.
They just brought you there to fill numbers. Don't worry, that's what they do with all this diversity thing.
You know how it goes. So pretty much they were like, okay, black people in the industry, come see. So we came down. They paid for our hotel in London, everything, etc. So we were there, and one of the things the lady was, I think she's in charge of NBU for Africa and Middle East, right? Yeah. So one of the things she was talking about, Nigerian lady, I think, one of the things she was talking about was that some of these countries are just difficult to do business in, like the the politics behind trying to give Nigeria free internet. Like, I would understand if Google was after a contract, a government contract, where they were like, right, so we'll provide you internet for $2 billion,
and then we'll still get to pay,
right? And they were like, we're giving it free, because of course Google knows data is the real money, so they just want to get that data. They want a foothold in the Nigerian market, right? The amount of politics, they still haven't done it. This is years ago. They still haven't done it. Like, it was easier for them to get a pilot program set up in Brazil and India than they still don't have a pilot program up and running in Lagos for the free fiber, the Google fiber thing.
If I get you right, you are trying to say that the government is the...
I'm not saying it's just the government. You have to remember that it's not only the government. A lot of times the government's not even involved. It's other interests. See, I have no idea how true this is. This is unconfirmed, so that's a disclaimer, big disclaimer. I have no idea how true this is, but I heard that when Google and I think Facebook as well went on to do the free internet thing for Nigeria and Africa, what they were told was they had to do it through one of the existing telecoms industries. So they have to do it through MTN or Glo or something. I'm like, so these people are already giving us free internet, but they have to give it through us, which means you're going to have to pay them, because of course they won't just say, so pay us millions of dollars or billions of dollars and then we'll distribute your free internet for you. It's like,
should I tell you why I don't find that too outrageous or too impossible? Now, this is not the government. This is not a big contract, right?
That's not the government.
Because I have my clothes. I use solar, right? So I have like 24/7. So it means that sometimes I have excess light, right? So I offer that, okay, you know what, on the street, everybody just comes together and then pay for whatever it is, bulbs on the street, and then I will power it, right? 24/7 every single time. Now they told me two things. First of all, I'm going to have to pay the CDA or whatever it is to do that thingy. Third, because my house is on the end of the close, right? I should be the one to run the whole street since I'm the one who's going to benefit from it the most. And I was like, what? I offer to do this as a free guy. So that Google, Facebook thing is not. I don't think it's far-fetched. I don't think it's far-fetched.
That's the problem, right? And a lot of these companies, they come and they see, okay, right, these people don't actually aren't serious about this. So what they're now doing, you notice that their strategy has almost changed, where they're now extracting the talent instead. So they're like, fine, if your country doesn't want you, come over to Silicon Valley, we'll give you a visa, we'll set you up, you can work for us, have better life, etc. And this is going to hurt Nigeria in the long run, because you have to remember that all these things are competitions. Here's why, and here's the interesting part: borders are becoming meaningless.
True.
Most like this COVID pandemic. Personally, I have some conspiracy theories about this. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but personally, I think like there's some special interests in the shadows who have used this as a now hear me out. Who have used this as a massive A/B test for switching the world from traditional 9 to 5 to remote work.
Why do you say so? Why do you feel so?
Look how like okay. So for example, you look how the remote industry has exploded. Like there are companies now that are closing their offices permanently, not because they're closing down, but because they're realizing, hang on a minute, working from home is better. Yeah, they're like, no, not just can it work. They're like, it's better. See, my company, right? They're a financial company. They're big in the when it comes to fintech companies, they've got this household name. You can't touch them. But a company like that, you assume that they'll be at their best when they're in a physical location. Okay. They told us we've been more productive during lockdown as a company than outside of lockdown. Like we're actually making more profit. It's weird. And when you look at stuff like this, you look at other companies. Pinterest just canceled their office lease. They said they've realized that remote is the future. They're no longer going to have physical office. You're seeing companies realizing, hang on a minute, we don't have to pay stupid London rent for office space. We just have our people go where they're happy. You want to go live in the countryside, go live in the countryside, log in, we'll have our meetings on Zoom, go have fun with your friends, do what you want, raise your kids, spend time with your family. People are realizing, hang on a minute. And it's not just the companies that are realizing that this is good. It's also the workers. Because before, there was this notion that if you work from home, you're lazy, you can't be productive, but now that everyone had to do it, people are realizing, hang on a minute, I prefer this. I actually know my kid's name. I'm actually think about this. I'm actually spending time with my wife. I'm spending time with my husband. I'm doing this, and people are like, "Wait, hang on a minute. This is better.
Work-life balance is getting better."
Yeah, it's better. It's like, objectively speaking, it saves everyone money. You're not spending as much money because you don't have to buy like expensive lunches at the office. You don't have to commute. You're saving time. What about those people that are driving 2 hours a day to get to work? Now they're like, I have 2 hours extra. I can wake up at 10 a.m.
Extra,
and still make my first meeting at work.
Don't even need to buy.
People are realizing this. So that's why I was saying that maybe this might have been a massive A/B test by some shadowy interest. Like, wait, hang a minute, because you have to remember that we didn't always have 9 to 5. The switch to 9 to 5 came because, again, there was an event and people were like, okay, the old school way of 12-hour work days doesn't make sense anymore. Let's change. 9 to 5 is outdated. It's been outdated for years, if not decades.
Wow, yeah.
So people are now like, we're hanging in. Let's just, because we see the combination with working from home, remote work, the gig economy. When you combine that, there's no reason for me to go to an office. Like, when I look at the average developer, if you're working on a mature product in a mature company, how much time of your day are you actually spending writing code for the company? How much time? Like, you if you take a quick survey, you notice that most developers are writing code for less than 3 hours a day, if not that. So why are you forcing?
I think also, if you combine that with how well everybody, if you work from home, how everybody are able to optimize their space for themselves. You get? I mean, for example, now what I have, I'm sure this is also the same with Damisi and with you. What I have in my work office at home, most offices, if I want to join an office and I ask them, you spend this amount of money to get me this comfortable, they literally say, how much are we paying you? Get the fuck out of here.
Dude, have you seen you've seen my setup, so it's like,
yes,
I can't ask any company to give me
you get, like, you can't ask anybody. So, but working from home, he gives you that job, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful because, for example, now I know my rig is set up with that I can easily switch between game and then work easily. I don't have to like stress.
Thank you.
You get okay, but now let's come back to it. We're going away.
That's part of the point, right? Is when you look at these power shifts, and then because like I was saying previously, it's a competition.
Yeah.
See, if places like Nigeria and Africa get left behind, what's going to happen is you're going to have people who live in Africa but work for companies outside of Africa. So
it's already happening a lot.
Yeah. So what begins to happen now is they'll start you start getting a moral case of, should I be taxed twice? Because if I'm earning money in the States, they will tax me. The Nigerian government wants a piece because I live there as well. So then I begin to ask, okay, hang on a minute, you're not providing my employment. The
Yeah.
house I live in is my parents' house. I own this
Yeah.
house. I'm not using any social services because you have no social services. So why am I paying tax? So it's going to come to a point where more and more people are going to go, we don't want to pay tax because you're not employing us.
Okay.
And then
Okay, so
but
okay,
that's the
finish,
issue,
finish,
right?
finish,
That's the
finish.
issue.
Yeah.
Is what effect do that have on government? And this is where you're going to start seeing proxy governments where Google has more influence in Lagos than the Lagos government because they employ so many of Lagos's top people that
Okay. Yeah.
they're injecting more money into Lagos than the government is, so they control more of Lagos than the government does. Like when you see things like that begin to happen later on, where Google is deciding government policy, that you're stepping into dangerous zones as well, because then there's no guarantee Google can just say, okay, you know what, we're coming to Lagos, we're buying up like half of Lagos to build a massive campus, and we're just going to send all our developers from like around the globe to come and live there and work there and sleep there and whatever. And again, we need countries in Africa to wake up to the fact that there's a way around this. There's a way, I think, and to stop playing devil's advocate for a second, I think there's a way where the government can benefit and the people can benefit. And here's how. If the government understands that if they allow these bigger companies to come in and do what they do best, they can still enjoy, they can still make their money. Because see, why prevent startups when you can fund a startup? Like I can tell you, most of these people who have tons of money. One moment, let me just get my lights back up. Most of these people who have like a ton of money, in the Nigerian government and outside of it, you know, one thing is they can fund startups on their own.
Yeah.
Like this isn't. Yeah.
What is the incentive? What is the incentive?
The amount of money in circulation in Nigeria, in Africa, is incredible, considering the fact that, like you say, we're a poor nation, we're a third world nation or whatever. The amount of money circulation.
It's the imbalance. And this, Damisi, it's good you raised that point, because when and this is something it's a fun thing that happens when I'm here as well. And I'm talking to people and they're saying, oh, you're Nigerian, you're from Nigeria, blah, blah, blah. Is Nigeria like stable? They have this warped picture of what Nigeria is, what Africa is. And I tell them, look, you guys don't know quality of life till you come to Lagos and Abuja, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like, because if you've been to London, you know what I'm saying when I say the houses here are tiny.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The houses here are tiny. The flats are tiny. Like, if you want a big space, you have to be a millionaire in pounds, or you have to have inherited like a massive house from parents or grandparents or something. For the same amount of money you'd spend on rent in London, you can build like a stupidly massive house in Lagos. And this is the thing, right? Is there's money in Africa, there's money in Nigeria, dude. How many people in London or in the UK can afford to make the kind of trips Nigerians make? See, when Brexit happened, most people in the UK who were crying about it and saying we don't want Brexit to happen, a lot of them were just angry because they didn't want to stop flying to France, Germany, Ibiza for £20, because the flights inside of the EU are ridiculously cheap. You can get on a plane for £20. So to them, holidaying is just like, you know, it's no different
like
from traveling within. Yeah, it's like a bus ride, right? But for us Nigerians, look at all those Lagos families that travel to London every summer and Christmas.
Every summer, Christmas. Do
you know how much that is? Like one person's flight.
All their kids.
They take all their kids.
Cousins.
And sometimes they have like 4 kids.
No, I don't forget. Some of them fly first class. Some of them fly business. Do you know how expensive that is? Like one way, like one back and forth. Business is like £3,000.
Yeah, if you do the estimate, I think you're spending close to 4K, 5K USD
for one person.
Okay, 4K, 5K.
Yeah,
a guy's flying with his entire family, pays for all of them, packs them in business class. He spent like 20 grand. He spent more. Almost more. 20 30K flight tickets
on flights.
They get here, they stay in a proper hotel for like 2-3 weeks.
300 a night. Sometimes some of the hotels are like 300K a night, 300 USD. 300 USD a night.
It's not a good hotel. His wife
money for shopping, feeding, like all the fun and everything.
No.
Like these people are
Yo.
spending buckets of money here. So
So let's just say
and
give or take 50K.
yeah, don't even
50 or
forget
take
that
50K.
they released the numbers, and Nigeria was like,
Yeah.
I think, top 3 in number of in terms of the rankings
Travel.
of countries that
Yeah,
spend money on sending their kids to the UK and US. We top that list. We're up there with China and places like that. That I think China and India were the other ones. Like we spend that much. We're talking billions of dollars sending our children to go get educated. So when all this noise about Nigerians don't have money, I'm like, what are you talking about?
But do you think
Where's that coming from?
do you think our issue is more on culture? Because
It's his culture. That's the
Okay,
point.
no, wait,
but like the cultural differences between
See,
different people.
guys,
Because I see
before culture, and I think I want to arrange this to Damisi because Damisi is the pessimistic guy here. Damisi, so what do you say? Stuff like what Josh too. I need your input now. Stuff like what Ekiti is doing, right? Reducing just coming in to subsidize the cost of broadband considerably well. Don't you think that has like a good effect, or that's necessarily a good thing?
It's smoke screen. What's the maximum speed you can get in Ekiti State?
To be fair, we don't know yet.
It's not going to pass 2 Mbps. Like if it passes 1 Mbps, I'll be
What?
shocked.
What?
Dude, what's the fastest you can get in Lagos?
Okay, so it depends. I know for IPNX,
No, I mean
right,
the fastest possible in Lagos right now.
And that's what. Okay, so right now, I can give them Wi-Fi.com.ng is currently 10 Mbps, right?
10 Mbps, dude.
No. But they're higher now. There's IPNX that you can pay more, which I'm trying to switch to. Is you can get like 30, 40 Mbps, right? If I'm not wrong.
I'll show you something in a moment.
Which might be. I know. No, Josh,
you know about your speed, bro. You know
No,
about your speed.
no. I'm not talking about. I'm not even talking about my
No.
ISP. See, I'm not even talking about my ISP. That's the funny thing. I'm not even talking about my ISP. Mobile, dude. My mobile.
Yeah.
1 second. Let this test finish. I'll show you guys my speeds for mobile.
Okay, that means, you know what? Let's all do test speed on our phone. Let me see your test speed.
Mobile, not Wi-Fi. Not ISP.
My mobile. Okay, let's do mobile.
Guys, look at that. Wait, let's just get it to focus. Look at that. Do you see that?
That's 34, right?
34 down, 8 up.
8. Ooh.
That's mobile.
Jeez, that's
you can look at that. You can see the top of the screen. 4G. That's mobile.
That's pretty good.
That's not even ISP. If I wanted to
okay. So I think IPNX
we're talking
they have
800 plus. But that's the issue, right? Is if the government subsidizing is fine, but we understand how these backroom deals work. Because what is a subsidy?
Yeah.
What's a subsidy? It's a payment. It's not what they're doing. It's money changing hands between power. Like, so if a guy says, I'm going to subsidize your electricity, that's fine. But then you find out that the guy who supplies your electricity is his best friend. So all that's happening is just redirecting your tax money.
Wait, guys, do you want to see my internet speed?
Yeah, go for it.
What was yours, Josh? Again, I can't remember.
So it was 38 Mbps.
Okay, mine is not bad actually. Okay, I think it's flipped.
What is yours?
Mine is 65 MB up.
Let me focus. Yeah.
And 1.28 down. Oh, sorry, the other way. 65 down.
That's not bad.
1.28.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Is that your Wi-Fi or your mobile?
Yeah,
my mobile. My mobile this is actually really good.
Yeah,
I was surprised. That's why I was like, okay.
This is what I mean. So it's like, what are you paying for? Because you have to remember that if the and this is where that's what worries me the most is we see innovation a lot in Nigeria, but what we don't see is consistency and longevity.
Yep.
Yes.
We see that happen all the time. Like some guy who's just come back from the US, he's just come back from, of course we're rounding off now, but some guys just come back from the US. He's got stars in his eyes. He's like, oh my God, we can make Nigeria great again.
You know what, right?
Yeah, I can change the world. And he starts some fancy new business in Lagos. And then after a year, the shine goes and people stop patronizing him.
I need to touch back on this thing when I talk about culture. Like,
okay.
I feel like that's the problem. Like, nobody is thinking about the future. Everybody just wants now. Everybody wants that quick buck and everything. They're not thinking of their family in like They don't want to build a dynasty. All of them just want to make that quick buck. And
they're
again,
out.
also about culture is I'm gonna say is, you know, there's always this divide. There's a divide between Yoruba and Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo. Like, you know, there's this thing we say in Yoruba land. I don't know if you guys have ever heard it, like Malofe Igbo. Like
Yeah, of course.
basically do not get married to Igbo. And
It's three countries in one. And
yeah, it is. That's the thing. And that's the thing. And it's always like that. Like you say racism is never is not ingrained, is learned. And that's the thing. Like it seems everybody is always against each other. Like nobody wants the other person to win. Nobody wants the other person to grow. You just want to think about themselves. I think that's one of the problems we have in Nigeria and Africa. Like just that inclusiveness. Because like, okay, for me to grow, this guy has to grow also, so we can grow together and make this place. Because if I want to get to that place where Google is, where Amazon is, everything else has to work. And for every other thing that has to work, I have to bring those guys up. So that's why I'm very pessimistic about this. Like, forget the government. Like we ourselves are not even willing to let the other person win.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Do you know? And to add what you just said,
That's sad, though. That's just sad.
You have to remember another big thing is there's a massive incentive to leave the country. Like people who can leave the country, leave the country. That's another big problem. Yeah. Like you have the talent, you have the skill to leave, you leave because people, dude, the countries are desperate for tech talent. Like right now, there are countries in Europe, Germany, places like you know Sweden, Scandinavia, all these places. Once you just go right, I'm solid on any front end, back end, mobile, whatever it is. Once you go, I'm a solid developer. They give you an interview and they can guarantee you a solid developer. They're ready to offer you a job tomorrow. And you're like, hang on a minute, don't they have citizens? Yeah, but their citizens are all employed. What they need is they're looking for more. Like these people are trying to grow and grow and grow, but the people just aren't there. So young Africans who've got the talent, they're like, okay, wait. So you're telling me my options are stay in this country, fight the power for my entire life, and there's no guarantee that anything will change, or I could go to Germany and have a fantastic life. What do you think they're going to pick? So it's like there's no incentive to stay. That's the issue. That's another issue. And I honestly speaking, I don't know how the government is going to fix it because you can't force people to stay. Because even if you force people to stay, all that's going to happen is they'll start working for those companies and nothing gets built in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you fix this? So I think it has to come from the top down. These companies have to realize that they will make a lot more money if Nigeria explodes. Because if you know how much money ISPs make in countries outside Nigeria, it's insane. They make a ton.
I mean, I think that's kind of like similar to what I tell my friends, because I mean, now this is going to be the pessimistic side of me outside this podcast. I always tell my friends, you can't innovate yourself your way out of bad governance. You can't. No matter how much innovation you do, you can't. As long as there's bad governance, you can wake up in the morning and then everything all changes. You get like as you can see how Lagos wakes up and then tries to stifle ride-hailing companies left and right together. Like, so one of the things I know I can say, if I'm still going to come back to being optimistic, is what I always tell people is that try to build for the world. Build for the world from wherever you are. Because building for the world, either it makes your chances of getting out of this place a lot more faster, or it's just going to give you that massive recognition that you need to get out of that place. Now back to the internet issue that we said. And I'm going to wear my optimistic jacket back. Now I'm going to say that I feel like it might get better because given enough time, any situation gets better.
Oh man, that is brilliant.
Doesn't even deserve a laugh from me,
dude. You forget, dude. Here's where I'll blow your mind. Less than 50 years ago, 1 naira was a pound. Just remember that. True. Okay. So just
less than 4 years ago, bro. Less than 4 years ago. Yeah, no, less than 4 years ago, the naira was worth 60 something. Right? 60 something. Yeah, because you know how funny this Lego brick that I bought. When I bought it from Amazon, it was around I think it was about $99 at the time. Now it's still the same 99, but 99 there was about 16K. Now it's about 40K.
Yep.
Do you see the difference?
Yep.
Do you see? So anyway, anyways, guys. So I think we should just sign
You
out
want
on
to
this
end it?
one. Damisi, yeah. So Damisi,
I was
give
gonna
us
go
your
on a
last.
tirade. I was gonna go
Yeah,
on a
give us.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
give us.
So I'm
I
still
feel
the
like it's gonna be
pessimistic
deadly.
one.
I feel like
All
it's
right,
gonna be
so
deadly.
you see, this is Nigeria, right? And we live here, and you see the people that are actually here that are actually trying to make things better. A friend of mine was trying to build something DIY. We all do that. We three of us are we DIY
Yeah,
some stuff,
yeah.
right?
We
And he's trying
strong
to
that
build
way,
some
sir.
stuff, and he's trying to buy like a boat. He's trying to buy a boat, but he can't because it's not available here. The manufacturing industry to produce those kind of things here are not available, and you have to import those kind of things.
There's no Amazon.
And it's not Amazon,
Yeah,
and the problem is like the government that we have is stifling those kind of things. Nobody is allowed, I would say, to grow that kind of business, the manufacturing industry, and creating those small tidbits that we have. And how do you grow when those little things are not provided? Like that. I just want to end on that. Like you guys have not convinced me. You guys have done a very terrible job. So
I wasn't planning. I already said
I think
it's not possible.
why we couldn't convince you is just because it's just pretty hard to convince because
It's
there are no strong points. There are not enough good points to convince
I
you
think
as against why that.
to sign off from me, right? What I'll say is
okay.
just okay because I've said a lot of negative. Now the one positive I can
What needs to happen for things to change?
the
Yeah,
one
what
thing
needs to
that needs,
happen?
the one thing that
Yeah.
needs to happen is mass literacy. You'll be surprised at how quickly things
true.
change once people know
Yeah.
exactly what they're missing out on. Like the average, the average Nigerian doesn't have a clue what's possible on the internet. Like, sure, they know about Twitter and like when I see the hunger Nigerians have for the internet infrastructure, it's there. Like you look at Twitter, there are few countries that dominate social media like Nigeria does. Like Twitter has such a Nigerian presence that you can't go on any popular page or any topic and you won't find like a sizable portion of
Nigerians
Nigerians
talking
on
about
it.
yeah.
Take football for example.
The
Most
banter is wild.
most people responding. Sure, you get British, you get other countries, but the voice it's not as loud as Nigerians. Nigerians,
Bruh.
dude. If there's a hashtag Nigerians are using, that trends within the hour, guaranteed. Right. The only places you can get competition from are like India, for example, and even then they don't because they
Their
all
number.
have alternative platforms. China has their own space. They don't use Twitter much, right? So the hunger is there, but people just don't know what they're missing. So it and that's the issue. And thing is, we have no idea how hard we'll have to fight to get things to change. And that's why I'm always very cautious about this because you can't tell someone else to spend their life fighting for your own good, for your own benefit.
So
we have no
also,
idea,
I
right?
think I think that makes sense. But I think one more point I'm just going to add to this because I think this wrap our whole series on government and all. We're going to next podcast episode. We're going to like go much more, techier stuff. Then come back again to it. So I think one thing that I would say is that
so this is your speech.
we might need.
Ruben, just think of this as a speech to become the president of Nigeria.
Okay, yes.
To announce your candidacy.
Yeah. So I think that what will happen, what should be the first step that should happen is that we need to make government less glamorous. Because I feel like people get into government right now in Africa because they see it as like a way to like get rich, because you see what these people earn is bulks and bulks of sums of money. So I feel like if we make it less glamorous, we make it such a way that only people who, for example, let's say somebody who is coming to be governor of a particular state, you check so that he's the guy who has track record of creating value consistently in a particular sector. So maybe civil servants might not necessarily be there. I mean, civil servants, no offense to you guys, but you guys don't create so much value anyway. So I feel like we should find a way where
that's controversial.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it should be such a way that only people, we should glamorize it. All that massive bulk salaries they get, all those pensions, we should take it away. Because I feel like if you come into government, you should create government in such a way that is good, that by the time you leave,
I have to disagree.
Why
I
do you
can't agree
disagree?
with that. I think because the problem isn't how much they earn legally.
I feel like it is. I feel
No,
like because most people are not yet to work.
bro. The
Most people are
problem
not yet to
isn't the
work.
salary. The salaries aren't that high. The
Oh,
problem
they
is
are.
no. See, the
They are
problem
crazy
is
high.
the problem are the add-ons, the perks,
add-ons.
the
The salaries are not
connections,
high. It's
the
the add-ons, yeah.
contracts, the cutbacks. Hey, Damisi,
Yeah.
I'll contract you to provide Lagos internet. You give me 30%. That it's things like that, right?
Did you guys listen to
That's how it
the
works.
news recently? There was a particular guy that spoke, and he basically said that there will be a contract of like $750 million, and they'll use $15 million to do this thing, and that gone. Like the rest of the money just
That's the issue. And don't forget the voters. Until the voters get angry enough, like it's not enough for the young, educated, uni-educated people to get angry on Twitter and say this and that.
The guys.
We need to be sure that when those politicians drive by their neighborhoods and start giving out money or whatever, bags of rice or whatever happens in the election periods. No, I'm serious, because you never know how.
No, I think
votes.
it's a chicken and egg problem. I feel it's a chicken and egg because the politicians intentionally make these guys poor so they can rely on them. So when they come, it's easy to offer them stuff. So I think it's a chicken and egg problem. So don't let these positions look glamorous, because I have, for example, the senator that governs where my constituency, my house is. That guy hasn't done one shit.
So how are you going to break the cycle?
I feel like guys. I'm going to tell this idea. I normally say it like towards my guys, but I feel like one way could be case in point. Me, you, or let's say 6 of us right now. We've gone outside to create value. We've gone to build for the world, right? We've become billionaires, right? Well, means we have the money to rival any other party that wants to come and bring a candidate. Now we know we know what's best for the country. We're not there for the money, right?
Cool.
So what we do is that we become kingmakers, right? We go and look for somebody who we know from the grassroots, who has had a track record of delivering and growing value, and then we sponsor this guy to the echelons. We sponsor this guy to the depths.
Now, do you know the problem with that?
This guy is going some serious Illuminati shit.
Do you know the problem with
when
that?
this guy becomes governor, Josh, I can comfortably say that if I'm not in a meeting where we're supposed to decide the future of the country, and then you and Damisi are there, I can comfortably say that stuff that will be discussed with this guy will be good. I have no fear.
Do you know the problem with that, though?
What's the problem?
Is that's already happening, but for the other side.
Yes! Now we do it for the good side.
Here's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
See, you have to understand that you're entering space where people get really competitive, and I mean they start taking things too far. Number one, number two, when you go outside to create value, right? You go off to Silicon Valley to make billions. Your viewpoint changes.
True.
You're going to stop caring about Lagos. Like dude, after your second billion, you're like, where's Nigeria? I don't know where that is. It happens. We see it happen all the time. It's like, why would you come back?
Yeah.
Why would you come back? No, it's an honest question. Why would you come back? Like,
unless
your sentiments.
I feel like. Yeah. Okay. See,
and you have to remember that people are going to annoy you to the point where you might even not want to come back, because people are going to start saying, "Aren't you Nigerian? Come back to your country, bring your money home," and then you're like, "It's my money. Why do I have to do work?"
Okay, guys, let's round up. This is already another topic already. Yeah. This is like another topic. So let's round up. So guys, trust me, we're actually going to revisit this because this sounds very interesting. I like what Josh is coming with. I also like the view that I have, and then I also mix up what Damisi was saying about Damisi. How did you? There's way Damisi put it. I'm trying to remember. Please, Damisi, give me the point again. The last thing you said about how. Why have I forgotten?
Is it infrastructure? Like I'm sorry.
Yes.
Getting those small things to help the little man grow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, we've come to end.
Come to the end of this episode.
Episode.
So guys, don't forget, smash the follow button, destroy the subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on every platform possible. If you're listening to us on audio, Spotify, Anchor, Overcast, make sure you check us out on YouTube as well. be super
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
And hit
Yeah.
that
Share
You
notification.
can also follow any of us on any of the social
Twitter
media
as well,
links,
yeah, Twitter, Instagram,
see what I
yes.
talk about, see what Josh talks about, see what Damisi
I'm
talks
really
about.
quiet. I'm really
Yeah.
quiet.
No, Damisi talks a lot about hentai, so you might really want to be
That
worry about
is
that.
too much info.
Yeah.
I don't tell what he does in his private time.
I don't know that
Anyway,
guy. I don't know
guys,
that guy.
listen,
Ah!
smash the notification bell because you need to know
Yeah.
when we upload new episodes.
Yeah.
New episodes
Yeah.
every week, same time
Yeah.
every Sunday, of course, and
Yeah.
will be released later on during the week. So yeah, guys, it's been fantastic having you guys, Reuben, Damisi, and
All right.
myself.
Yeah.
So be
Peace.
well, peace.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Later.
Cheers.
Yeah.